Hey guys, welcome back to another Trains with Shane video. This is not a will it run as such, as I purchased this from a web store, so it should be brand new. So this is going to be a product review of an Atlas U23b in MKT colors. You guys know I love MKT above all other roads because it was the road I grew up seeing in my hometown in the 80s. And it's in the green and yellow safety paint scheme, I call it. And this is in DCC, not DCC in sound, unfortunately. But let's get into this thing and take a look. This is their Master Series line. Got the typical bubble wrap. Looks like the foam in here is really cut out well to hold in this locomotive. Let's see if we can get this thing out of here without destroying it, because it is such a snug fit. It's not coming easily. I'm reluctant to try and grab anything. Let's just pull the foam out, and then we can push the locomotive out from one side. I commonly have to do that with Broadway Limited stuff, because it sits in there pretty tight as well. Right, straight up back. It's a nice dense foam too. All right, here's our prize. Let's get our Rick's pick in here and get our foam out. We fumble the Rick's pick. Foam on the other side as well, but I'm only going to remove the foam on this one side because details will probably be a near mirror of each other. All right, MKT. Good looking unit. Road number 351. This is, of course, a U-boat. U23b, so 2,300 horsepower. B. Dual means dual axle trucks. Just bask in the glory. Looks like we've got the painted over front classification lights or marker lights. Molded in grab details. These are not freestanding grabs on the front or the back. The yellow stripe continues down onto the front of the pilot. That's kind of cool. I don't think I've seen that on any other models before. Walkway is black. Striping looks good. The thing you will see on MKT engines, just it's kind of a fun spotting feature. Not all of them had striped cab roofs. A lot of them just had solid green cab roofs, and only had the striping up the sides and up the nose. So I always thought the ones with the striped cab roofs were kind of cool. Right, where's my Rick's pick here? Alright, number board looks pretty good. Don't see any windshield wiper details or anything like that. Got our 3-chime horn. Looks like the cab is blacked out on the sides, maybe. safety chain here is painted yellow as opposed to black, so that's cool. Handrails, fairly firm, but there is some give to them. I see they got the painting right. On some locomotives, despite the preponderance of green and yellow, sometimes the outer ladder rails here would be actually painted white instead of yellow. I have not looked up 351 to see if this is prototypically accurate. I don't really, it's not the biggest concern of mine if it is prototypically accurate. I know there are some people out there who like to count the rivets and look up the photos and make sure every little nut and bolt and door and sand filler hatch and light is in the exact place it should be. That I really only would be concerned with if I bought something really fancy like a Scale Trains rivet counter or something like that. With a more value friendly Atlas or Kato or something like that, I'm not concerned about that at all. I just want them all to look decent, not fall apart, and to run well. Looks like we do have a separately applied stack here on the back, molded in radiator details and sand filler hatch. See my greasy paw print. Separately painted fuel level and fill, that's cool. Air tank on the bottom. Atlas, of course, made in China these days. 351 again on our number boards here. Rear headlights. Pilot details pretty basic. Looks like there should be MU hoses, but there are not. Same on the front pilot. Looks like there should be MU hoses and maybe a plow, and there is neither. This didn't come with a bag of parts either, so as you guys can tell, it's empty, and there wasn't a little packet, which is usually stuck up in this little corner. So it didn't come with any of those parts, so I'm not sure if that was an omission. Separately applied brake, handbrake wheel here. Yeah, good looking little unit. What do you say we get this thing over to the test track and see what it does or what it does not do? It's brand new, so hopefully it better do. I will see you guys over there. Alright guys, we have returned to the Inglenook switching layout that that I purchased from Steve's Trains last year, I guess it was now. I've just been using the little shorty test track and the little temporary loop I put up on the bench in the back room a lot lately. And one of my subscribers said, hey, what happened to the little switching layout? So I figured might as well bring it back. So here we are. I've already got track power on here. We're using DCC++ EX, and we're using the proto throttle. We've got number 3 programmed in here on a short address. Looks like directional lighting works. Let's see if we can get a tune out of this trombone here. Dialing up the power. We had to get it up to notch 4 to get it moving. Not bad. Let's change directions here. Notch 3, she starts to crawl. And in regards to the notches on the throttle here, guys, I haven't changed anything from the default configs, either on the locomotive or on the throttle or anything. So looks like we got a little stutter there. Are we still on? Let's change directions here and see if we can go forward. We can't, looks like we're dead. Stand by. Let me give it the DCC touch. Looky there, mobile again. As I was saying, guys, the CVs for speed, the notch config on the proto throttle, and what that corresponds to on a speed table, I haven't changed any of that, so I don't know what speed step, like notch 3, 4, 5, 6 or whatever on the proto throttle here relates to as far as a speed setting, whether it's 50, 60, you know, who knows. But this thing does move forward and back. Let's give her all of the beans. That was notch 8. And then down. Let's give her everything in reverse. Again, pretty good. This is Atlas's scale speed motor, so wide open it's not going to be breaking any records. I think we're going to call this a win. Looks like our directional cab lights work pretty well. The cab lights also turn on the number boards. Looks like that's all on just that one casting. Probably a partially see-through element there. And we'll bring it back. Wish it had Loke sound. It may eventually. We'll have to see. I really hate stuttering of DCC N-Scale stuff. And it's something that all of us deal with, regardless of if we're using the Kato Unitrack like I've got here, hand-laid track, flex track, although I imagine flex track is probably less of a problem given the longer runs between jointers. Whether we're using jointers or soldered rail, I imagine soldered rail is just less susceptible. Turnouts, whether they be power routing or otherwise, all are factors. There aren't a whole lot of provisions out there in regards to trying to fix that. TCS makes a pretty basic looking capacitor pack that is supposed to be able to be used with N-Scale locomotives. I believe ESU makes one as well, and I think they even build a small capacitor bank onto certain decoders, although I'm going to have to research that a little more. Something I found made by Iowa Scaled Engineering, the same folks who make the proto throttle, is this: Run in Smooth N-Scale Power Keeper. So basically what this is a small capacitor bank, and here it is right here. And if you can tell, it's pretty small. Oh, as I shake the camera, here's my thumbnail for reference, and I don't have very big hands, so probably something you could sneak into a lot of places, even on an N-Scale unit. Although you might have trouble fitting one in on, say, an Alco RS3 or something, or maybe a little switcher, something that has a long hood that's not very tall. You know, unlike the big SDs and GPs and stuff that we're used to that have a full height long hood, or even in some instances a full height short hood, like in old GP7s and GP9s. I am going to send one of my units to my DCC installer / custom paint guy, whose work you have seen, and see if he can install this on one of my Loke Sound equipped units. And I think the one I'm going to send him is the Intermountain MKT SD40-2. You guys remember I had a heck of a time with stutters and that thing not working right despite it being brand new out of the box. So we're going to see if the power pack here, the Run and Smooth, will help to quell that. I hope it does. If it does, I'm going to order a crate of these things. Anyway, guys, thankfully this Atlas unit does run. And with that, I'm going to conclude that one right here. I want to thank you guys for joining me on another episode of Trains with Shane. And I will see you guys on the next one. Until then, stay safe, and I will catch you on the next one.